This is the one thing most assisted living marketers get completely wrong. They think budget should flow to the care line that's doing well. That's how it feels, that's how it sounds. But what actually happens when you do that? You end up with three separate, uncoordinated campaigns spending money on the same audiences. The skilled nursing wing runs a high-performing ad and gets more budget. The assisted living wing gets starved for spend while its audience gets no attention. It becomes a budget war between care lines instead of a coordinated system. You waste money like that for years before you even realize you're doing it wrong. And when you finally get it right, you're already behind. This is Assisted Living Paid Ads Marketing, the show about running paid advertising for assisted living communities. I'm Mikey, and today we're talking about one accountable engine, multiple care lines, and brands. That's a system where every single brand in your portfolio runs its own funnel, but they all run from one unified marketing operator. Here's what you need to know. Most operators think they have to run three separate vendors or agencies for assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, and home health. They don't. What you want is a coordinated system where all the funnels are running from one account that can shift budget real time. You make this happen by giving each care line its own funnel with its own targeting, its own creative, even its own landing page. But they're all run by one marketing operator who controls them all from one dashboard. Step 1 is building those separate funnels. Each one has to speak directly to the audience that makes decisions for that care line. The assisted living funnel talks about comfort and safety for adult children. Memory care focuses on specialized care and staff training. Skilled nursing highlights speed of access and medical expertise. Home health centers around aging in place and family support. The creative for each funnel has to reflect exactly those concerns. That means completely different messaging, different imagery, even different call to action buttons. For assisted living, you're speaking to adult children who are looking for peace of mind. Maybe it's a parent who's just had a fall or a child trying to plan ahead for their aging mother. They want to know that safety is the top priority and that there are trained people around the clock. Your messaging has to reflect this. We've got 24-hour staffing, emergency response systems, secure entrances. Your creative should include images of smiling families, safe corridors, and comfortable living spaces. Memory care isn't about comfort alone, it's about specialized knowledge. The audience here is often family members who are deeply concerned about their loved one's cognitive health. They want to know the staff has training in dementia care, that there are activities designed to keep residents engaged, that there's a structured environment for safety and routine. Creative elements might include images of residents doing puzzles, talking with caregivers, or participating in music therapy. Skilled nursing speaks to families who make urgent decisions after a hospital stay. They're focused on getting their loved one the best medical attention quickly. You have to highlight fast access, medical expertise, and that they can get care right away. Your messaging might say something like, "We're open 24 hours for immediate care." The imagery shows nurses on the go, clean facilities, and staff in medical uniforms ready to help. Home health is about aging in place, about supporting families who want their loved ones to stay at home rather than move into a facility. You need to talk about support that extends beyond just medical care. It's about family involvement, respite care, and community integration. Your messaging could be about care you can trust when it matters most. The creative shows people in familiar settings, cooking, gardening, spending time with family. And each funnel has to have its own landing page designed specifically for that audience. If you're running a campaign about assisted living, the landing page should answer questions like, "What makes us different?" or "What are our safety measures?" For memory care, it might be more about staff to resident ratios and programs. For skilled nursing, it might feature testimonials from patients who had successful rehab stays. Step 2 is setting up the dashboard system that controls everything. You create one centralized marketing account with separate ad sets and campaigns for each care line. You track cost per qualified inquiry for each funnel, not just cost per click or cost per conversion. This gives you real numbers to move budget around. You set up automated reports so you can see which funnels are producing inquiries below target and which ones are beating their targets. You don't just look at clicks, you're measuring quality leads. That's what the qualified inquiry is. It's not just someone who clicked on your ad, it's someone who provided a phone number or submitted contact information that you can actually follow up with. You track how much it costs to get that type of lead from each funnel. You build a system where budget flows to whichever care line is underperforming in terms of cost per inquiry. That means when assisted living is under budget but memory care is over budget, you move money from the assisted living wing to the memory care wing. It's not about what's popular right now, it's about how efficiently each funnel is converting and where the most value lies. You also want to build in learning. If one funnel runs a successful campaign, you take that insight and apply it elsewhere. Maybe you find out that people respond better to video content when you're targeting home health services. You don't just copy the exact same ad. Instead, you adapt the style of storytelling or the type of visual elements that were effective. Step 3 is forecasting and dial control. You treat your entire marketing portfolio like one dial that you can turn up or down. When there are more open beds in skilled nursing, you turn up budget for that care line. When assisted living is full, you turn down budget. You're not waiting to see results. You're predicting demand based on your census data and adjusting in real time. You track how many inquiries each care line produces per dollar spent, and that becomes your forecast model. That's critical because you're not just seeing what happened last month. You're using historical data and current trends to project what might happen next. If the skilled nursing wing is seeing more admissions and your calendar shows that demand will continue rising, you increase budget accordingly. You need to know when to slow down and when to speed up. Maybe a competitor launches an aggressive campaign in memory care. You look at your own performance metrics, how your funnel is doing against theirs, and decide whether to boost spend or hold steady. It's not about reacting to what someone else does, it's about being ready for the shift. Step 4 is learning across brands. When a new ad copy works for skilled nursing, you learn from it and apply it to assisted living. When a certain audience targeting performs well in memory care, the system shifts that insight into other care lines. The data you collect in one funnel feeds directly into the next. This isn't just about copying ads, it's about understanding how messaging resonates with your audience. If you see that people are responding to a specific type of language or image in one funnel, you use that to inform your other funnels, even if they're for very different services. Imagine someone sees an ad in the assisted living funnel that talks about community support and social activity. That kind of messaging might work for memory care too, especially when it comes to showing residents how they'll be engaged and supported. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, you can use what you've learned from one care line to improve another. The beauty of this is that it makes your team smarter over time. Instead of everyone working in isolation, all your marketing efforts are informed by a continuous flow of insights across the entire portfolio. It's not just about better ads, it's about better understanding of how each audience thinks and what moves them. Here's what people get wrong. They treat each care line like a separate project instead of as parts of one system. They think they should run their assisted living brand on a completely different platform or with a different vendor. They don't realize that what they're doing is creating 3 different systems that can never communicate with each other. They waste time and money because nothing ever moves from one funnel to another, which means no budget shifts, no learning transfers, no system control. It's like running separate race cars instead of one race car on multiple tracks. Each car has its own driver, but they're not communicating or sharing fuel. You end up with a lot of waste and missed opportunities. And because you're not tracking across the portfolio, you miss out on the big picture. You don't know how much it costs to get an inquiry from one brand versus another. Without this information, you can't make smart decisions about where to put your money or when to adjust. The payoff is control. Every care line can be measured against a cost per qualified inquiry, so you can predict how many inquiries a given budget will produce. When you have that information, you turn the dial up or down, and your marketing becomes a forecastable resource instead of an unpredictable expense. You can plan your census, plan your staffing, plan your operations because you know exactly where your leads are coming from and how much they're costing. If you know that every dollar spent on skilled nursing generates 2 qualified inquiries and the assisted living budget only produces 1, you know where to allocate resources. Your whole team stops guessing. Instead of wondering whether you should spend more or less, you're making decisions based on data. You've got a system that's responsive and adaptive. When demand changes, so does your marketing plan. You don't wait for the end of the month, you act in real time. Marketing stops being an unpredictable expense and becomes a forecastable dial. The one thing most senior care operators have never had until they build the engine this way. One accountable engine with multiple care lines running separate funnels from one system is the only way to get true control over your marketing budget and forecasting. Your whole portfolio becomes a single dial you can turn, not three disconnected vendors working in isolation. If this sounds like what you need, check out the full course at learn.mikey.aiy.